statement of this model is that a great deal of neural activity is occurring throughout the brain at the same time. And we know that neurons in our mind can affect neighboring neurons in either an excitatory manner, that is causing the neighbor to become active, or an inhibitory manner, reducing the likelihood of the neighboring firing. For example, when we are listening, then we may need to decide whether the word is lip or tip. Okay, and on my lip or tip of tongue, right? Then this is done when you make the final decision is because of your neurons act in an excitatory or inhibitory manner. This is on my lip or tip of tongue. Because of tongue, so you will decide to choose tip, not lip, right? Because we do not say lip of tongue, but it says tip of tongue. These are examples for just clarifying the meaning of neuron being active in an excitatory manner or in an inhibitory manner, right? And these two people, that is Rumer, Holt, and McClellan, theorized a cognitive model built along the same line, that is, interconnected networks of information nodes, with each node influencing and being influenced by a large number of adjacent nodes. That is, for example, in case of synonyms or the antonyms, right? Okay. When you are asked to give the meaning of a word, you can remember a number of synonyms. This means that you stored interconnected string of the words in your semantic memories, and when you are exposed to when you want to respond to questions to the question, then you will remember a chain of the related words simultaneously. Now, the other two processing are top-down and bottom-up processing. They are similar to, that is, not the same, but similar to serial and a parallel processing. In bottom-up processing, it is the ones which proceed from the lowest level to the highest level of processing. That is from this phonetic level, from the sound level to the lexical and the syntactic structure and extracting the meaning. So, in such a way that all of the lower levels of processing operate without influence from the higher levels. Okay? And then, for example, when you listen to a lecture, that is, you are listening to me, at the lowest level, that is phonological level, you are identifying the phonemes and syllables that the lecturer is using. Again, as I stated, if you are a novice, right, you may resort to this bottom-up processing. Or even as an advanced learner, when you are exposed to unfamiliar pieces of information, when you are dealing with sophisticated information, then you may resort to a bottom-up processing, that is lingering on the sound, lingering on individual words in order to work out the meaning. At a higher level, the lexical level, you are using the identifications of phonemes and syllables to retrieve the lexical entries of the words from your semantic memory. Then at the next level, the syntactic level, you are organizing the words into constituents and forming a phrase structure of the sentence. And finally, at the highest level, that is discursory level, you are linking the meaning of a given sentence with the preceding ones and organizing sentences into a higher order units. Alright? And you will store the gist of that piece of information in your long-term, that is semantic and episodic memory. This is how to mean by bottom-up processing, beginning from the lowest to the highest level, right? But let's see, compare it with the top-down processing. In the top-down processing model, information at the higher levels may influence processing at the lower levels. For instance, a sentence context. Okay, here the key criteria to top-down processing is to focusing on the overall context. For this reason, the learners, all right, and the listeners, okay, readers are advised first to have an overview, okay, to focus on the overall context of that learning items, of that texts, of that lecture, right? To be able to arrive at the right meaning faster, right? I may give you the examples of a jungle, right? That is, if we want to know a jungle better, first we should try to have an outlook, okay, and let's just see the jungle in its totality, and then if you want to know the details of it, to focus on individual trees in that jungle, right? So overseeing, okay, overseeing an event help us to understand it better, to have uh, have a clear view of it, right? This applies to language learning. Okay, so if when you are exposed to a piece of language, if you consider all the that piece in its totality, that is in words in combination with each other, then on sentences in combination with each other, then you can understand and you can extract the main message behind that piece of language better. So the sentence context may affect the identification of words within that sentence. We may say that a top-down model of processing is one in which one's expectation play a significant role. You know, based on if when you are listening to me, because for example, a very simple example, you are listening to me, you can follow me. Why? Because you attend the class with preparation. You reviewed the assignment, and now you can follow me better, and you have a better understanding. Why? Because you expect what I want to talk about, right? And if you know where a lecture is going based on previous experience with the instructor, or maybe even by reading the text in advance of the lecture, then you can generate some expectation regarding what the next point might be. For this reason, we teachers are advised to encourage the students to make intelligent guesses, right, about a topic, right? And when we introduce students to any language materials, first we need to stimulate their background knowledge through meaning support, through advanced organizers, to know what they know about their common knowledge. In this way, this activating the students' background knowledge is kind of top-down processing, okay? If you are correct, then you are using the higher level of processing to facilitate lower level of processing. So, all in all, top-down processing means to activating the listeners, the learners' background knowledge, right, and to attract the students' attention to the overall context in which language learning experience occurs, language event occurs. And this has one implication for us. At the beginning levels, try to introduce learners to familiar, simple topic. So uh, the topics that the social issues about which the students have information. Activate their background knowledge, and then in this way they are able to follow you and they are able to make use of top-down processing. The distinction between top-down and bottom-up processing is similar in some respect to the distinctions between serial and parallel processing. In fact, a top-down processing is often a parallel process and a bottom-up process is usually a serial. Okay. Now, I like to raise a point. In your opinion, do you believe that we need to all the time to make use of, for example, top-down or parallel processing, or what? You know, in all language experiences, in listening or reading, even in speaking, if you start with mentioning the main theme and then divide that main theme uh, into the sub themes, this means that you are using top-down process. It's data-driven. It's meaning-driven. Which one, in your opinion, which one is okay? Or shall we you make use of top-down processing or parallel processing? Or do we need to make use of even the other two processes, even at advanced levels? Uh-huh. If you want, you can speak out your idea. Which one you recommend for better and effective learning? Top down, Sarmad, Muhammad, Amin, Assam, Qasim, Kazim. All are needed, yes, right. That's it. A combination of all of them. Even if we are very experienced, even if we are uh, at a higher level of proficiency, language proficiency, we have even dealing with sophisticated. Sometimes in dealing with sophisticated materials, we need to resort to the bottom-up processing or to serial processing. For example, while you are listening in one of my interpretation classes, I invited the students to listen to an event regarding a terrorism attack. And in the middle of the speech, the students could not make sense, could not follow the text because of two words, that is, crackdown versus track down. Right? It was a piece of news, alright? And then the students came across these two vocabularies, crackdown or track down. It was about police attack, confronting a terrorism attack. So the students were working out the main meaning and the main theme behind that. But when I asked questions about what did the police did at the end, what did the police do at the end of the event, the students, because they cannot make distinctions between crackdown or trackdown. And they need to hesitate. I replayed that part for them, and then okay, they came to understand that the police, which one I should choose, crackdown or trackdown. They decided, they made their mind that the final choice is, I'll put it there, this is tracked down, the terrorists. The bomb terrorist wearing a jacket bomb. Alright? So it was tracked down, not cracked down. So the students cannot distinguish because of similar sounds string. Alright? And so in the middle of employing top-down processing for extracting the main theme behind listening a news report, right, and interpreting them, the students were required to resort to bottom-up processing, that is to linger and pause on the individual words in order to be able to respond to my question, right? Yes, right? So by raising this question and this point, I mean to highlight the fact that in our daily language processing, we need to make use of all these processing, that is top-down and bottom-up, parallel processing, and serial processing, sorry. And but it would be very useful and effective if we try to resort to top-down and parallel processing more often, because in this way we can save time and energy and arrive at the right meaning sooner, right? That's it. Thank you. Now about the automatic and control processes, tasks that draw substantially from the limited pool of resources in the memory system are control tasks, while the processes involved in these tasks are referred to control processes, and tasks that do not require substantial resources are automatic tasks. That is, processes that do not require extensive capacity. And tasks differ on a continuum of automaticity, ranging from highly controlled to entirely automatic. Just take the simple examples of driving or typing or playing chess. At the beginning, you need to consult your memory system, okay? Very much it takes long for you to learn how to bike, to do biking, how to swim, how to drive. So you resort to control processing, you will check your processing, but as you become experienced, as you practice more, okay, then you will become automatic, okay, in using that skills. So you don't rely on your, okay, memory system a lot, and you will do the action unconsciously or subconsciously, right? And that is in driving, when you become okay, skillful and expert through practice, then you become automatic, and you okay, speed up. You will make use of gears unintentionally and in uncontrollable, unconscious, efficient, and fast way. When you become expert in using a second language, right? When you are asked to do verbal report, then you do not linger on the individual words, right? And you don't make long pauses, right? And this means that you are the language use become automatic. Uh, you are involved in automatic process. When I raise questions regarding to the different parts of lectures, and you were able to respond spontaneously, uh, that is fast and without too much thinking. This means that you have a good command of language because you can make sense of the questions and you are able to respond appropriately. Thank you. Now, development of the processing system in terms of the development of working memory. All right, these people study the development of three components of Badley-Hitch working model, which we talked about in details last session. That is central executive, a phonological loop, visuospatial sketch pack, and they use, remember, they use three measures of phonological loop: digit span, word recall, and non-word recall. And the authors found an increase in all measures from age 4 through age 15. And similar results occurred for the visuospatial and complex memory span measures. And it appears that all these components of working memory system, all right, undergo significant increases during the late preschool and early school years. That is, by the age of 15, okay, the working memory has been developed to a large extent, right? This is the time frame for the development of a working memory system based on the kind of the test which were applied to the different parts of the working memory system. All right, that is, we cannot expect the individuals below this age frame, this age group, to be able to process the information quickly in their working memory system. It appears that these advances in working memory are related to children's vocabulary acquisitions. Okay, these people reviewed a number of studies that examined the relationship between working memory and vocabulary development. In most studies, working memory was measured by either the digit span test or non-word repetition test. And Badley and his colleagues found that both tasks were strongly correlated with the vocabulary development throughout the preschool years. It is, the more vocabulary the preschool individuals know and learn, the more successful they are at these tests, that is digital span test, non-word repetition test, etc. And children with better working memory score, they have larger vocabulary. So the more vocabulary a child learns, the more developed his working memory system is. How about development of long-term memory? A Piaget claims that. So let's stop it here and ask Mr. Esam to do his presentation. Then we will continue with the development of long-term memory. Mr. Esam, are you ready? All right. Okay. Now I'll make you a presenter. Esam. Yes. Then you can upload your uh, PowerPoint. I stop sharing this. You ask you ask me to help? Ali Musa is to share it? Yes, Ali. Alright. Number 2 or number 1, Mr. Musa? Ali Hassan Musa. Number 1. Now we are a presenter. Ali Hassan Musa. From now on, any one of you wants to be up here to do his presentation to my WhatsApp, right? In the psycholinguistics group. Then I can upload it here for you. Mr. Assam, I don't have your name, your voice.
Okay, Dr. Na, do you hear me?
Yes, now I have
That's
your
right.
voice.
So I'm gonna start right now. I hope it will be acceptable. How this this is about how bilingual individual process information in their first language as compared with their second language. And
Right?
the other point here is how bilingual Hispanics perceive sorry marketers' sensitivity to their culture. This according to Kozlo, Shamdansi, and Touchstone 1994. Hispanics means that the Spanish who lives in the U.S. So this the us bilingual people. Examining how differences between specific languages, Chinese and English, affect the manner in which monolingual speakers of each language process information by shedding lights in the link between languages and consumers' cognitive structure. This according to Smith Han and Tavazolasi 1994 and Smith and Zhang's 1998. Revised Hierarchicals Model RHM describes how bilingual individual process words corresponding to two languages. This model suggests that conceptual or semantic processing is less likely to occur when a word is encouraged in an individual's second language than when it is presented in his first language. Thus, the RHM implies that memory of second language messages will be inferior to memory of first language messages.
I found
Yep.
in your previous, go back to your previous slide.
Okay, Mr. Ali, can you go back?
That's it. It says
Yeah.
memory of second language messages is inferior to memory of first language messages. Can you justify this based on what we had right now in our presentation? That is my based on the okay,
Yeah,
example by
because
this. Uh huh. Why
yeah,
is it
here
so that
because
the
that
more
the
uh huh
first and the second language. Yeah, the
right
conceptual processing of and enhancing memory for the second language message can be encouraged by designing as what we call this the advertising of the messages
no no
in
no
which the
sorry
picture.
okay just it's a general it's not related to the topic. You know, it says memory of second language messages it is inferior to memory of first language messages. Why? Because normally we are what? We are uh,
We are
we are
because we are
master.
acquiring the language.
All right, we acquire the first language
Yeah,
and the first language we are mastering it. we had skillful in using the first
Yeah,
language for
because of
this.
course, doctor, this
All
is
right.
very normal because the second language is required by us as individuals, and the first language is the superior one, and the second language is the inferior
Yes,
one.
that's it. Go on to the next one. This is the justification why it is your first language memory is superior.
That's right. Okay,
Because you are
now
expert in using it.
the studies show how bilingual individual process advertising messages. This is ADS, advertising messages, in their first and second language. They suggest the conceptual processing of and enhancing memory for second language messages can be encouraged by designing advertising message in which the picture and the text are highly congruent. RHM suggests that there exist two levels of presentations in the bilingual's mind, the lexical level and the conceptual level. At the lexical level, each word is stored separately. However, at the conceptual level, there is a unitary system in which word in each language acts as common semantic presentation or meaning. Picture effect in advertising to bilingual. Picture text congruity seems to enhance memory.
Mm-hmm.
Pictures are more easily accessed in the memory than verbal information. The
Right.
congruity between advertising pictures and the textual advertising memory may make conceptual processing of language to information. Okay. It's possible that pictorial cues that are congruent with the advertising messages copy facilitates language to conceptual processing. Hence, congruity of advertising messages, pictures, or let me call it advertising pictures and text, may moderate the symmetries in languages processing. The level of the
So you
picture.
can, so I'm sorry, you can just add, no problem. Add
Okay,
pronounced
okay,
as,
because
as
as
D to give.
abbreviation, because others may
No,
may not recognize it.
no. It's very common, widely used, which is add pictures.
Okay, I
Go
will go
again.
on.
Mm-hmm.
The level of pictures text congruity may determine the degree to which the pictures help processing the ADS messages semantically.
Semantic. So
Yeah,
what
semantic.
does it have an implication for language teachers? That is, when we are teaching, what should we do in order to help learners process the information, language information better?
Sorry, doctor, I didn't get your question. I cannot hear.
Based on the point you made concerning the helpfulness of the pictures, the ad pictures in processing information, what
Yeah, as a
pedagogical
concept.
implication it has for us as language teachers? That when we are
If
teaching, in order to help the students process the lexical items, we need to make use of.
that we need to make picture text congruity.
Yeah, right. Okay,
That's,
that is.
this is, doctor, how helpful this project is in teaching. So whenever we are teaching, we need to use some aids of pictures and text because the
That's
pictures and the text, they are speaking. They are
that is
speaking, not the teacher is
okay.
speaking.
Multimodal presentations of
Yeah, this is
information is recommended. Go on.
yeah, multi. Now it's possible that okay.
You skip one slide. Go back to the previous slide.
Mr. Ali, can you go back, please? Yeah, now it's possible that pictorial cues that cause congruent with ADC copy facilitate language too and conceptual processing. Hence, the congruity as the AD pictures and text may
Add
moderate this.
pictures. Add pictures.
Add pictures and text may moderate the symmetries in language processing.
All
The
right.
level of pictures text congruity may determine the degree to which the pictures help process the ads message semantically. Various levels of pictures text congruity are under two factors. Interactivity of the product's brand's name, and the second one is consistency of the copy. Because of the weaker language 2 conceptual link, conceptual processing of language 2 is less likely than processing language 1. The absence of total congruity, consumer exposed to language 2 messages may be less likely to process and elaborate on the message. Memory of language 2 ads was raised to a level similar to memory of language 1 ads when the pictures and the text of the ads were highly congruent.
Okay, this means that the pictures in seeing whether the students understand the text. If the picture is representative of the text, then that is they are in agreement, then the learners can make better sense and they can understand the concepts behind that. And very good.
So, Doctor, the last comment is just I want to tell you something. The
All
higher
right.
congruity levels of the results that is storage linkage being created in the memory between the pictorials and the verbal concept. So here, whenever we are teaching students in the class, we can show them the pictures of reflecting the topic.
All right.
Okay,
Oh,
so
that's it.
if the text and the pictures are congruent, this means that
Yes.
the students
Mr.
they can get
Isam,
the
would you
idea.
please
I can.
make a pause? I would like you to make a pause. I should tell something to my son, just for seconds, all right? Yes, Mr. Isam, go on, carry on. Mr. Isam?
I'm sorry, Doctor. Just I have little comment. We said, as we said
All right, go
before,
on. You are done with
yeah,
your.
when there is a text and the pictures in the class, and especially when they
Uh-huh.
are congruent, this will facilitate the topic for students,
All right.
and they get use of the
That's it.
language, and the language will talk as a language two that reflecting the language one, sorry, language two reflecting the language one. So that's
That's
all.
it.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for your presentation. This means that the implication is that the verbal information should be accompanied by pictures, illustrations, posters, right? And these illustrations should represent the verbal information. In this way, the processing will become easier for the students. All right? Thank you. Now, let's continue with let's, Allah Hassan become a participant, Mr. Islam, and also Ali Musa make a participant. So from now on, when you want to do your presentation, send your file to Mr. Ali Hassan Musa as the class representative, then you would have no problem in okay, uploading okay, your PowerPoints, right? That's it. So, do you want me to continue with the rest of the slides, or that's enough for today and continue next time? It's up to you. Very good. So I stop it here. Next time we will continue with the rest of the okay development of long-term memory, and okay, and then we will continue with social interactionism. Social. The next topic is social. Okay, interactionism. Okay, in Carol, in sorry, in William textbook that is uh, psychology for language teacher. I would like you to study chapter 2. Okay, it is chapter 2, part 2.3, 2.4, and 2.5. Okay, these are for the next time, in addition to the development of long-term memory in the book Psychology for Language Teachers, as I mentioned. Psychology for Language Teachers. Alright, I'll stop it because we are approaching iftar, and because of Ramadan and iftar. That's enough for today. Just let me. And who will be the next presenter? Who will be ready for next time? Let's check the names again. Shima Rashid Ahmad will be the next presenter. So let me put your name here. Rashima Rashid Ahmad. You will present it alone, Shima. You will present your part alone or with a partner. All right. Thank you. Yeah. So next time we'll continue with the long-term memory development, the ending part of it, social interactionism, and then at the end of the okay session we will listen to uh, Shima Rashid Ahmad for her presentation. All right. Thank you for your attention and patience and contribution. Have a nice evening. See you next time. And bye bye. Take care. And remember me in your iftar prayers. I stop recording. Bye bye for now. Okay, no